Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Abhinav Gokllani, best-selling author of Prospecting Dating. Make them chase you. Yeah, his story is one of courage, risk, and resilience. At just 22, Abhinav left India with only $750 and a one-way ticket to Santa Barbara to meet someone he had only known through the internet, a decision that changed his life forever. That stranger is now his wife, by the way. So, from earning below minimum wage to becoming one of the top performing sales development representatives at globally recognized SaaS companies, Abhinav has generated over $16 million in sales pipeline and $8 million in luxury automotive sales. Along the way, he became fascinated by, performance psychology, communication, and the science behind why people trust, connect, and say yes. Today, we explore the lessons behind this remarkable journey and what young people can learn about taking risk, building relationships, and creating opportunities. Abhinav, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
All right. So, yes, I want you to take us back to the beginning, like I mentioned earlier, right? So, what made you take that enormous risk of leaving India with just $750 and take a one-way ticket, right? What was going through your mind at that time, basically?
I think I just knew, and you have to kind of take risks because what's the worst that could happen, honestly? Like I already was living a life of happy with the life that I had, but I'm like, okay, when you're like super content, there's no problem taking risks.
Wow. Okay. So it was just, take risk, right? Okay. So,
Yeah.
a lot of young people today, they are like afraid of making wrong decisions, right? Because they fear failure, basically. So looking back, how did you learn to, trust yourself when there were like no guarantees?
I think like it's so funny and weird at the same time where like a lot of people wanna avoid failure, and that's like that one thing that's going to actually lead them to growth. And personally,
Mm,
I don't avoid failure. I don't even see it as failure. It's just like a cost of trying new things. That's it. It's sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. It's how it works. It's just that simple. And if we just remove the term failure and just keep doing what we need to do, it's just going to be easier.
Wow. All right. And it reminded me of a guest that said there's no such thing as failure, actually. It's just life lessons. They are lessons, right? They are not failure, actually. So
Yeah.
yes, and right. So your career, right? It didn't start at the top, right? You worked your way up from, below minimum wage. So what were some of the hardest lessons you learned during those years?
I think one of the biggest lessons, like no matter how much money you make, people will always have their own judgments and their own
Mm,
ideas, and you don't have to confine it to that, or you don't have to believe what they think of you. And having a big vision of, who you want to be and what you want to do, and following that as a North Star always will work.
mm. All right. So yes, I want us to talk about, career sales and human psychology, basically. So you often say your obsession was never sales. It was understanding people, right? So what first sparked your fascination about humans, basically?
I think one of the biggest things is like when I started my dating life, I realized like in India, what happens if you don't have a fancy degree or you're like more than 25, 27, then you kind of keep getting discounted. And I realized like when I would go out and just, try to talk to women and other like to date me and stuff, I realized like it's so simple in terms of the common thread of human psychology, and really involving your emotions instead of a bunch of pickup lines and tricks and tactics. It's the same thing that I saw in sales as well, that a lot of people are just using these canned email templates, canned lines, and you've got all of those emails, right? You get those DMs and they don't make you stop scrolling. They don't get your attention because they're all kind of fake and manipulative.
Mm,
So that's when I realized that, okay, I can truly be myself and crush it in dating, crush it in sales. It's that easy.
okay. All right. So your book, right, it compares prospecting to dating, right? So it's like an unusual comparison, basically. So what similarities do you see between, building relationships and like personal relationships?
I think the similarities I see between personal relationship and sales is the biggest similarity is authenticity. The more authentic we are, the better outcome there is. And one of the
Mm,
other things is just understanding that you have to be as human as possible because day in, day out, we talk to so many people that we don't even remember. Like when we're crossing the street or going to a shop, and all of these conversations are not memorable at all.
mm,
And the ones that are the ones that are the most vulnerable and the most human conversations we've had. Like,
wow.
I'll give you an example. One day I met a friend, and when you ask everyone, how's it going? Everyone's like, good, good, good. I met my friend, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And he said, I am having a very bad day. He didn't pretend to say it's good. And that was the most real conversation I had that day because someone was being honest with me.
Mm. All right. Well, so it's about honesty, right? And
Yeah, because,
creating.
go ahead. It's because we're trying to help these people. We're either trying to be a ideal partner for them, or we're either trying to help
Mm,
people that we're selling get a good product. And the more real we can be and more honest we can be, things move along faster.
mm. All right, honesty. Okay. All right. So, in your opinion, right, why do you think so many people struggle to, build trust? And even when they have like similar skill, they still naturally struggle to build trust. What do you think that is?
I think it kind of loops back to our first topic that we discussed. People don't want to face failures or they don't want to face all of these things. It The lack of trust ends up being from the part that we already want a desired outcome. We're not open.
Mm,
We're not ready to focus. Not ready to face the openness and the outcome that's naturally going to come.
mm,
So what happens is that it puts us in untrustworthy situations with where it's mutually indicating, we don't get high quality dates or prospects, we don't get high quality behavior from our end, and then the outcome's never going to be great.
right. Okay. So yes, thank you for that one. Actually, I would like to say I think I'm learning a lot actually, and yes, this is something I think personally I'm gonna practice, right? And not to say I'm expecting a desired outcome, just like you said, but just to build a meaningful connection, right? And to build trust. That would be like the end goal, basically, instead of expecting like a desired outcome and all. So talking about lessons for people in their 20s, because that's like the sole purpose of my podcast, right? Giving advice to the young ones who are trying to gain clarity when it comes to life. So many people in their 20s, they struggle with rejection, whether
hmm
in relationships, career, or businesses, right? So, how has rejection shaped your own journey?
I think I've always had the belief of scarcity because, I work in sales. I've had the ability to go out and hunt. I had the
Mm,
ability of someone say, "Oh, I don't want to date you." Sure, no problem. Move on.
mm,
And the scarcity, you always feel scarcity when you don't
mm,
have enough abundant opportunity. If you had 10 times or the 15 times the opportunity where you could pick and choose in sales or in life, would you feel the fear of rejection? Probably not.
mm.
So it's just one of those things where, we have to ask ourselves, why am I feeling this fear and what can I do? And honestly, at the end of the day, in sales and life, you have to keep moving on. You have to have the grit to accept what is, face it, feel it, move on, and, keep doing the work.
All right, feel it, move on, and keep doing the work, basically, like you have
Yep.
said. And yes, another thing is, confidence, right? Is something that almost everyone wants. Everybody wants to build confidence. Everybody wants to be more confident, right? So, do you believe confidence comes before action, or does it, grow because of action?
I think sometimes you can be really confident that you want to achieve something 4 or 5 years from now, and people
Mm.
around you might not believe you, and that can confidence carries you through. But also, what really deepens and builds the confidence sometimes, it could be both. What I'm trying to say, sometimes is by doing the work. Just like,
Wow.
doing something scary, doing something hard, doing something tough, and you realize, okay, this is not really that hard. It's like, when you go into the deep end of the swimming pool for the first time and you realize, oh, this is easy, I can do it.
All right. Okay. So basically, it's both, right? Sometimes
Yeah,
confidence comes before we even swing into action, and sometimes confidence comes when we swing into action. Like when you're doing it, you now realize, oh, it's not like you said, it's not as difficult as you thought it would be. So basically,
yeah.
there's no rule book to this. Actually, it just depends, right? So finally, right, if every young adults listening today could, if you could leave them with just one lesson from this conversation, right? What would you want it to be?
I think one of the biggest things would be I'd want them to believe in themselves, no matter
Mm.
what they see around them and what people tell them around for about them. I want them to intuitively believe in themselves, have a strong touch with their intuition, and follow where that leads to.
Oh, okay, like you said, believe in yourself. And from your story, right? I would say after believing in yourself, um just take that most radical decision. Just do it, right? What's the worst that can happen? Like you said at the beginning, just try to overcome your fear and just do it regardless. So that would be my
Yeah.
second take from your story, basically. So yes, thank you, Abhinav, for this wonderful conversation. And it brings me to the final segment of my podcast. I call it the rapid fire segment, right? You could either answer with a word or a phrase starting now. So,
Okay.
what is one book every person in their 20s should read?
Hmm. I'd say the Aladdin factor.
Hmm. The name of the author of the book, rather.
Mark Victor. Yeah, it's called the Aladdin Factor by Mark Victor Hansen.
The Aladdin Factor. Okay. So, what is one habit that had the biggest impact on your success?
I think one of the biggest habit was asking questions out of curiosity and really not caring about if people think it's a dumb question or a strong question.
All right. Well, okay. So, what is one skill everyone should learn before they turn 30? Right.
Hmm. I think one skill that they should be learning is really going out and interacting with people. It doesn't have to be sales. It just has to be interacting with people and trying to have really authentic conversations. That opens up a lot of experiences and doors.
Whew. Okay, so for someone who is an introvert, that sounds like a lot of work, but one has to do it regardless, right? So the
Yeah, at your
skills,
own pace.
okay, at your own pace, basically. So it's communication, basically creating meaningful connection. Right. So yes, thank you, Abhinav. This has been amazing, honestly. And yes, where can listeners get to learn more about you and also connect with you?
I think the best place would be they can connect with me on my LinkedIn profile.
Okay, on LinkedIn. Okay, what's the name of your handle, right? On LinkedIn. I think that's it.
So my LinkedIn handle is Abhinav Gokllani, just like my full name. And if they Google me with my book Prospecting Equals Dating, they'll find me.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna put a link in the show notes so it's easily accessible for listeners. And to my listeners, I want to say thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share it with someone who you think might need this. And also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Once again, thank you, Abhinav. Do have a wonderful day ahead of you.
You too. Thank you. Take
All
care.
right. Take care.